we're all set. All cameras are recording, right?
Striking.
All right, cool. Here we are. We're back. It's the Memo. You got Richard Lyons, Alex Masados, Matt Brodsky, as always. We're gonna do start off with our predictions. Then we got the scrap heap back this week. Matt and Alex are very passionate. They got a lot of things to say. And then we'll end it off with the Stamper Shred. So we'll just get quickly into the first game here, which is Chargers-Chiefs.
Some might call this the game of the year.
Some might. Most will
Game
not.
of the year.
Most will not.
Determine that until after.
Two best teams in the AFC.
How many game of the years have we had? We have had Saints, Rams, Chiefs.
I think it's
Jets, Bills,
hands down Rams, Chiefs.
Rams. Oh well,
It's not the best game of the year, but this game has as big of stakes as you can
get.
get.
It does. You're
Rams
right.
Chiefs didn't really mean anything. I'm saying this game.
That's true.
This game has got a lot at stake here for the division, for the number one seed in the AFC.
But don't the Chiefs have the tiebreaker?
They do. Yeah.
So you're just hoping that they lose along.
Even
that would be
even if the Chargers win.
Yeah, if the Chargers win, the Chiefs have the tiebreaker because the Chargers lost to the Broncos. And the
Broncos. Sorry, you just opened it up for me.
Chargers lost to Denver, and other than that, there would be the Chiefs haven't lost in the division, so that would be the tiebreaker there.
Yeah. Before we get into the predicting, wouldn't that?
Wow. Everyone here is wearing a hat besides me.
But they beat the Broncos twice.
Wow.
The Chargers,
fucking nuts.
The Chargers would have lost to the Broncos, and then the Chiefs beat the Broncos twice, beat the Raiders twice. So the division tiebreaker.
All right,
Who
so
you
this
talking
is the
to?
tiebreaker podcast.
I'm just cleaning it up for people who are not sure of or just why the tiebreaker is the way it is. The Chiefs are undefeated in the division. They would have split with the Chargers, and then the Chargers lost to the Broncos is what's going to fuck them. So the Chiefs have to lose another game.
It won't matter.
But the Chiefs do play Seattle after the Chargers, so maybe
That's interesting.
Maybe.
But what I was going to say, before we get to the predicting, wouldn't it absolutely suck? Say that the Chargers do win, but both teams win out after that to go 13-3 and be a wild card.
Yes.
That's disgusting.
That'd be miserable.
That's unacceptable. They should change the rule if that happens.
Dude, honestly, the Chargers would probably rather play on the road. Their home field advantage doesn't exist.
It doesn't. All right, so I will go first. We'll save Chargers boy for last, Mr. Brodsky. I'm gonna pick the Chargers to win this week. I'm not a big fan of the team, but like in terms of them competing for a Super Bowl, I'm a big fan of that. I think they're definitely one of the more underrated teams in the AFC. They have a great receiving core. They have Phillip Rivers, could be a top 5 quarterback in the league right now, if you wanna say that. They have a good defense. They got Bosa back, and I'm sure he's playing well, right?
He's
playing
great.
well. Yeah.
He's got like 4 sacks in 3 games.
Yeah, exactly. So now, by the time the playoffs run around, he'll be back in full game mode. And I don't know. I like to go with the underdog here. I want to pick the Chargers. So that's me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know. This one's a tough one. I want to pick the Chargers because I like them more than the Chiefs. But it just seems to me like it's always the big game with the Chargers that they have to win, and they always end up losing. So I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a toss-up. The Chiefs just played a really tough game against the Ravens, on the brink of losing that one. And I think the Chargers are a much better team than the Ravens. So this is going to be a tough one for them. And that game was in Arrowhead too. It wasn't like they were playing in Baltimore and it was a tough environment. That was definitely had home field advantage there. Big time home field advantage playing in Arrowhead. This one's tough for me, but I'm going to pick the Chiefs just to piss Matt off.
We don't even know what the kid's gonna say, and we're tearing him.
Is that all you got? Listen, it's so hard for me not to be biased here, and I want to pick the Chargers. I want them to win this game.
You're not going to pick the Chargers?
This is the biggest game for the Chargers in like the past 10 years, probably. Like everything to gain. Finally, they haven't beaten the Chiefs in 5 years. 9 straight losses against the Chiefs. It's in Arrowhead. It's on a short week. That any team traveling on a Thursday night loses. Like, that is a fact. Like, it does not work. You have Melvin Gordon, Iffy if he's going to play. If he does play, they said he's going to be limited. So that's not good. The Chiefs did show that they are vulnerable against a good defense this past week. Of course, the Chargers are not the same defense as the Ravens, but I do think if they can rush the passer, they can make Mahomes uncomfortable. But I've just seen it too many times, like you said, like falling short on big games. In Arrowhead, the Chargers they can never get over the hump in Arrowhead. It's just so difficult. And honestly, like we mentioned, like Bosa's been playing great. Their pass rush as a whole has not been what it's supposed to be. It's
maybe it will be now that he's back. I mean, it's only been 3 games.
It's only been 3 games. Like they played the Steelers, they had 1 sack. They played this past week against the Bengals. They might have had like another 1 or 2 sacks. They're not pressuring the quarterback. Honestly, the backup in Cincinnati, Driscoll, like they played a good game. It came down right to the end there. Like if they converted a 2-point conversion, they could have tied the game up, Cincinnati. But I think the Chargers might have been overlooking the Bengals a little bit. Looking forward to Kansas City, they still got the job done. But I can't. I have to pick the Chiefs. I'm going to be realistic. I don't think that the Chargers can pull this off.
Where's your heart and soul?
I gotta put emotion aside, dude. Like I
for what? For who?
For me, just so I can come to the realization that this is what's going to happen. I can't see them winning this game.
Disappointing.
I might change my
Mahomes
pick now.
and dude, like Mahomes. The Chiefs have the Chargers number. Tyreek Hill runs all over the field against them. Casey Hayward cannot keep up with Tyreek Hill. The first week of the season, Hill had like 300 total yards, including a punt return. He's doing ends arounds. They're bombing it down the field.
Hayward couldn't keep up on the punt returns, right?
I'm just saying, like Tyreek Hill is their kryptonite, and like even Anthony Lynn said it himself, leading up to this game, like. They have to find an answer for Tyreek Hill. They haven't been able to do it yet. It's really, really tough to play the Chiefs. You have to play a perfect game, and on a short week, this short week is going to kill them. I don't think everything's lined up against them this week. On a Sunday afternoon, maybe, but I can't see it happening.
I agree with that. I mean, it's the same reason I scrap heaped Phillip Rivers a couple weeks ago. When it's the big moment. He tends to, and not just him, just the Chargers as a whole, they tend to fold. And this is like...
They haven't been this good in years, though.
True, but they've been this good in the past with Rivers as their quarterback. And
yeah, but that was a long time ago.
They haven't made the playoffs in like 5 years, right? I don't know. This is a tough game as it is. We'll see.
I don't know if they're gonna lose though. It won't be because of Rivers making a mistake. Again, like this is the Chiefs' defense we're talking about. Rivers is gonna have a game. I think he's gonna have a great game. They're gonna go toe to toe for a while. I just don't trust the Chargers' defense, secondary especially, to be able to hold Mahomes in check. And this guy, like even when he's pressured, like we saw against Baltimore, he's running out of the pocket all the way to the right side, just bombs it downfield to Tyreek Hill, 4th and 9.
But there were some of those plays where it was like. That should have been picked off, or that should have been a big mistake.
It does.
It seems like now Mahomes is getting away with some flukish plays.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like that no look?
What's the point of a no look in football? Like
there is none, but he got it done. Why not?
The safety's not like reading the. Like,
They do. They read the eyes.
On a play like that, though, it wasn't like he stepped into it or anything. It was just like. I'm sure if he was looking at the guy, it would be the same exact play.
You never know.
Oh, no.
What if everyone in the defense started breaking that way instead of he was looking that way?
It was like a slant.
It was like a drag.
You don't need to no-look past a slant.
You don't need to no-look past anything, I guess, like you said, but, completed it.
If he's able to do it, you don't know how. Maybe the next one he does will be 30 yards downfield.
Maybe.
No look?
He did it in college,
too. He's got the ability to do it.
Does he just do no-look passes?
Hey, he used to play baseball. They say it's because of his pickoff move.
What do you say? Pickoff moves are no-look, too?
It's a quick little, like...
You're definitely looking at the first baseman.
If you have your back to first base...
I'm sure his eyes were looking in the direction. He was just probably facing.
Yeah.
He's probably
it's all about the body.
All right, so we got...
The point is... The Chargers defense, and they're susceptible to the big play. They give up some of them. Like I think they give up like the second or third most big plays in the league. Like they can be beat downfield if they don't rush the passer. So it's going to be just a really tough game. It's going to take a perfect game, and I don't think that they can put that together.
See what Derwin can do.
Right? Maybe if he can get pressure on Mahomes.
He shouldn't be the one you're depending on to do it, but
he
is.
rushes.
Him and Jamal Adams lead the league out of like safeties.
Mhm.
They lead the league in pressures.
Mhm. They can just put him all over the field. So it's gonna take a lot though,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't look good.
All right. So we got Chargers, Chiefs, spineless coward, and
Please be wrong. I'm praying that I'm wrong. This
All
would
right.
be such a good win.
who we got next, Brodsky?
We'll go Steelers, Patriots. Two teams coming off
In
tough
Pittsburgh,
losses in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
The Patriots. That was terrible, dude.
Unreal.
Every
Never
time
seen
I
him play
watch
like
Gronk, I just crack.
He's
He's so
stumbling
funny.
over
Why the
himself.
fuck was he in the game?
It was like if they
I
throw a
know
Hail
why
Mary.
he was. I know
That's
why he
so
was in the
dumb.
game. It
They
was
were
so
normal-
stupid.
Normal defensive player can't handle it.
It was a 69-yard play. They
Yeah.
were not. Tannehill was not bombing at
Yeah,
70 yards
exactly.
into the end zone.
The guy who gets
It was
injures
ridiculous.
his shoulder every
that
year.
was just a bad move. They said like Belichick didn't realize that Gronk was out there. He didn't put out the right personnel. So that was a big mistake, and it came back to fuck him. Anyone else would have just pushed him out of bounds.
Yeah, that's crazy. At least got in his way.
Yeah.
Like force him back into the
So
other
both
defender.
of these teams are coming off bad losses where coaches kind of made mistakes. Like I've got a lot to say about Tomlin in the scrap heap later on, but the Steelers, I mean, they lost to the Raiders. What else can you say?
Yeah,
about
that-
they lost to the Raiders.
ridiculous.
Anybody want to make a prediction here?
I make a lot of my predictions based on my feelings and not my statistics. I'm gonna go with the Patriots. I feel like we talked about it last podcast. What is Roethlisberger 1-7 against Tom Brady?
2-8.
2-8. They just Brady always seems to have the Steelers' number in the playoffs, in the regular season, no matter where it is. Just the Patriots in general, obviously, have their number. And, I'm going to go with the Patriots just because I hate the Steelers, and I'll never pick them on a prediction.
Really? You hate the Steelers that much? Why?
You know what they did.
Since when?
I hate the Steelers
You
too.
know what they did to the Jets.
But just
What? I don't remember.
Knocked them out of the AFC chip.
Oh, come on.
was that 10 years ago?
I can't hate him for that.
They're hateable for a lot of other reasons.
Well, yeah, but that's where it stems from, and then it branches off into like this way, that way.
Anyway,
Lev Bell King.
that's true.
Fuck him. Are you kidding me?
What?
You like that guy after what he's doing?
Yeah.
You
We're
not
don't
getting
think
into this
they
right
could
now.
use him. Connor's hurt now.
Scrap heap you.
Yeah, scrap.
We're not
people.
getting into this right now.
Fuck Le'Veon Bell.
Patriots
He's
are.
you were your first round pick, and you
Yeah,
like
he
that
fucked
guy?
over my fantasy team. Who
You
cares?
like that guy? Who cares?
He's not caring. He's not doing it for my fantasy team.
You should
He's
want
doing it
him
for
to.
the players. I don't mind what he's doing. Anyway, I think the Patriots are going to win this game. They're coming off a tough loss, but honestly, that was a really tough game for them. You know, the Dolphins are not a bad team by any means. I don't think they're that good, but they're not a bad team by any means. And Miami's a place where the Patriots have had a lot of trouble over the past few years. People call it their Bermuda Triangle, quote unquote. I did not expect the Patriots to win that game.
Win the Miami game?
Yeah, I before the game I picked them to lose. Go
What,
back to
in-
football AF. Come
in
on.
In your own head, you picked them to lose.
I wrote it in our group chat. What, we don't talk ever?
No. When did I have no memory?
Go
of
back.
You
I
picked the Dolphins over the Patriots.
I said Patriots are going to lose.
Did you say that
What, you
after
think
the
I'm
after
lying?
the
I
Hail
do.
Mary
I
play?
do not believe that you said that. You said
You
that
think
out
I'm
of
lying, do
nowhere.
you?
Yes.
Yes, I said it before kickoff. I said the Patriots are going to lose to the
Why?
Dolphins.
What spurred that statement?
Because they lose a lot in Miami.
We're gonna have to check
the
the
Dolphins
record books
aren't that
there.
bad. All right, you can go back in the group chat.
I'll do it right now.
Anyway,
Don't do it right now.
Make your picks. You picked already?
Yeah, I picked.
I'll do it right now.
anyway, that was a tough game for them, and unfortunately, they had fucking Rob Gronkowski in at safety on the last play of the game. They should have won. That was the best Brady has looked in a long time.
You had
Yeah.
a great game.
He had a very
Great
good
game.
game. He looked like he had some zip on the ball. Threw for 300 something yards, 3 touchdowns. First time he had a multi-touchdown game in I think it was like his second multi-touchdown game in the past like 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, he threw 2 against the Jets.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think the Patriots showing against the Dolphins was a lot better of a showing than the Steelers against the Raiders. I think the Patriots are a better team than the Steelers. I hate the Steelers. I think they're going to win this game. I don't care that it's in Pittsburgh. We'll see. Maybe the Steelers will get out to a quick lead, and then they'll go with Josh Dobbs to give Ben Roethlisberger some rest. But I'm gonna pick the Patriots.
I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it was before the games on Sunday.
Yeah, I found it.
Yeah, you're damn right.
Really weird that you would even say something like that.
Were you researching the Patriots record? And
we weren't talking about it at all.
It's a known thing. It's a known thing. They lose a lot to the Dolphins.
We weren't talking about it. You said it, and then it wasn't acknowledged.
Yes.
Interesting.
Pretty weird. You inserted it after the game.
Yeah, I went into the GroupMe code.
That's impressive.
Yeah, like they have a good firewall. That trash company.
Okay, who are you picking? You can't pick the Steelers. You're not allowed to.
Why?
You're gonna pick the Steelers and then go ahead and scrap heap Mike Tomlin?
I was gonna pick the Steelers.
Okay,
but now I don't know. That would be a bad look. I'm picking the Steelers because I don't think the Patriots are very good. I've said this week after week.
What is not good about the Patriots?
The team.
This is the time that they start.
It would be 10-3 if not for
this is the time that they start losing to the Dolphins.
Okay.
It was one of the most ridiculous plays ever.
That was a fluke loss if I've ever seen.
Yeah, what the hell's wrong with you?
End of the day, it's about wins and losses and who won the game.
They're 9-4.
Okay, they're 9-4. They're what? They're like the fourth seed in the NFC, AFC.
They're in the NFC now.
AFC. Okay, fuck it. No, the Steelers have lost 3 games in a row. They need this game so badly to keep pace with the Ravens, and they play the Saints the week after. This is as must-win of a game as you can.
They better not be looking ahead to the Saints.
No,
They'll
but they know.
Sure lose.
No, but they're not looking ahead to the Saints. They know that they have to win this game.
Yeah, but the Steelers, they're definitely not looking ahead to the Saints, but they're known to look ahead. At least that's what I think.
God, that's ridiculous.
Richard's going to say they're known to look ahead.
Yeah,
because they lost to the Jaguars.
It's happened before in the past. They always lose these games. I bet they lost to the fucking Raiders because they were looking ahead to the Pats.
Did they lose to the Chargers because they were looking ahead to the
They lost to the Raiders because Big Ben wanted some plays off. He wanted to relax a little bit.
That's a whole nother story that we'll get into.
You think Tomlin didn't bring up the Patriots once during the week?
Not once.
Dude, I bet they were talking about it all week.
They're gonna beat the Patriots. It's at home. I think that like I said, it's a must-win for them. I think they're gonna bounce back. I can't see them losing, 4 games in a row. They've been streaky all season. They started out rough, and they hit their stride. They won like 5 games in a row. Now they're in a little skid. But this is a good team at the end of the day. I don't think anyone's going to say that they're not good.
When was the last time the Pats lost 2 games in a row?
That's a good question. But, things happen. And I've said time and time again that this Patriots team is not the Patriots team of old. It can't be the same thing every year. It's eventually going to have to, come to an end. They look more vulnerable than ever.
How?
Yeah, but what we've been saying about Tom Brady looking like he's done, obviously.
He had a good game against the Dolphins.
He played well last week, too. He played well the week before. I mean, it was against the Jets, but...
He's not playing not well, but he's playing more of just like a...
He knows what he's got to do.
Average, down to the middle of the road quarterback, which I just think that the pressure is going to be on for Pittsburgh, and they're going to come out like their season's on the line. I think that they're going to be able to win in a close game.
What's
I'm
the
taking
difference
the Steelers
between the pressure on either team? It's pretty important for both teams.
It's not. I mean, it's not that big of a game for the Patriots.
I guess not. All right. You took the Patriots.
Patriots, yeah.
Patriots, Steelers. All right.
Spineless.
Yeah. What's the next one?
Spineless.
Back-to-back spineless picks.
Yeah.
What's
next
look,
on
I
the
don't
slate?
like Mike Tomlin. I like the team. They're a good team.
Without James Conner? Jalen Samuels?
He's been playing well.
He did not play well.
Pull up his stats.
He had 7 receptions, but he did not rush well.
He's got a touchdown.
Okay.
He's a dual threat. Tight end running back.
Okay.
All right, watch him carve up the Pats.
What's the next game?
Juju Smith-Schuster is so good.
Yeah, he's
He
very
is
good.
incredible.
He
You
had
see
11
those
carries
catches
for
he had?
28 yards.
Look at his receptions.
He had 7 carries, 7
7
receptions
catches,
for 64 yards.
Almost 100 yards.
All right,
A lot
we
of
got
checkdowns from
let's
Josh
move on to the
Dobbs.
next game
Yeah, first of all, they need a quarterback. Why didn't they put Mason Rudolph in?
because he's like
Josh
never
Dobbs
played
is-
a game in his life.
Neither had Josh Dobbs.
Oh, really? That was his first game.
He's terrible.
All right, next.
Next, do the next game. What is it?
Oh, we got Cowboys-Colts in Indy.
Boring game.
Good game.
Boring.
game.
You think it's gonna be boring?
No, it's great offense versus great defense. Two
Those
teams in
always
the
turn
thick
into
of the
boring.
playoff hunt.
What happened this week with a great offense, great defense?
Which one was
We
that?
got 15-6 Rams Bears.
That was a great game.
That was a very good game.
Great game. That's boring.
Very good game.
I don't like those like low scoring defense games. It's not me.
I just like a competitive game. It's not anything that's close to
6.
the end.
6. That's a great 2
it was
field
it
goals.
was nice to see a defense dominate for once.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't like it. Would you want to see another Super Bowl like Broncos Panthers? You want to see something like that? I don't like that.
I don't really remember that game.
That game sucked.
That was the worst Super Bowl ever.
But it was
All right.
it was Peyton Manning.
Yeah, not to stray too far, sorry, but we got Colts Cowboys. I mean, it'll be a good game in that sense.
Cowboys
if it's
put
another
up points. They can score. It could be a back and forth game.
possibly. I mean,
I think it'll be a
the
good
Colts can go at it with the Cowboys defense like that, put up points on them.
I think it's a good matchup. That Colts
Yeah.
O line versus that
The Colts O line
Cowboys
is great.
D line. Very good. It's going to be an interesting one. Colts coming off easily their biggest win of the season.
That was a great win.
Yeah, they stopped that 9-game winning streak against that the Texans were on. Rivalry game. Cowboys coming off a big win as well. Overtime victory over the Eagles.
Yep.
This one's in Indianapolis. I don't know. What do you guys think? This is a toss-up. I haven't really thought about it that much.
I mean, I'm riding the Cowboys wave until they give me a reason not to. Like, and we're talking about like low-scoring, boring games. The Cowboys have put up their share of points. 27 here, 29, 30, 40. They can score. They have some games where it's low-scoring, like against the Saints when it was 13-10. But when this offense is clicking against the,
Well, I wasn't saying it because I don't think the Cowboys can score. Like the Bears and the Rams can obviously score, but it was just like a defensive battle. I was just saying I hope it doesn't turn into a game like that, where both offenses just can't do a thing.
I don't
think it will.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. I don't think the Cowboys also, like, their defense is completely shut down to the point where like Luck won't be able to get his yards and his points up. We saw like they gave up 23 to the Eagles. The Eagles were able to put something together.
Those were some a lot of the points the Eagles scored though were off like nice plays by the defense, turnovers. Dak threw a couple picks. Wentz didn't really play that well, honestly. That game should not have gone to overtime, honestly.
Yeah, and what was surprising is Dak threw for over 400 yards, which was something you've probably never seen before. I don't think he's ever done that.
Didn't you say
he had a
it was
game.
going to be his week to throw for? Or was that the week before?
I said it would be his first week over 300 yards.
Yep, and you were right about that.
Amari Cooper went for 217. That looks like a home run. And I've been thinking about it. How you mentioned, was it worth a first-round pick? It might have been worth a first-round pick.
If he keeps
if
playing
he's
the
their
way
number
he
one
does.
receiver, like they just drafted him.
I guess.
What is he, like 25 years old?
I mean, at the time with all what other teams were getting for their receivers and how he was playing, but now I mean, it looks like he's.
Look, if he's going to continue to have that production, it looks like they found something that works there, and he's been great for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So who you got?
So I'm going to take the Cowboys because I love their defense. I think they just have playmakers all over the field. The front seven particularly is very, very good.
Yeah, DeMarcus
Lawrence, Jalen Smith, and Van Der Esch in the middle. Like they have a lot of good pieces, young pieces there. And at the end of the day, like the Colts offense is too inconsistent for me to really trust. Like we've seen them score, we've seen them get shut out. I don't know which team is going to come to play. I think the Cowboys are more trustworthy at this point, and they're red hot. So I'll take the Cowboys.
All right. I'm going to go with the Colts. I really like their O-line. It's really nice to see that with Luck coming back from the injury and all the complaints before he got injured were how the team was doing nothing to put an O-line in front of him, and that's basically why he got injured in the first place. Now they have probably the best O-line in the league, or at least they're playing like the best O-line in the league against a great defense. I think he'll still get pressured, but I think there'll be times where he'll get enough time to still like do his thing, hit T.Y. down the field, just what Luck does. He's been playing great all season, and I just think they're gonna be the ones to take down the Cowboys. They've been on a nice roll, and what is it, 5 in a row?
No, they lost.
Oh, they did lose. So what is it, 5 out of the last 6? Yeah, I think they're going to drop this one to the Colts.
Good game, good win against the Texans.
Yeah.
Big win.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Cowboys. I'm going to sign
No, I was talking about the Cowboys. Didn't they win? Haven't they won 5 in a row? That's what I meant. Yeah, so I think this is where it ends.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cowboys. I think I'm going to pick the Cowboys to keep the ball rolling here. The big thing for me is we talked a lot about how the Cowboys offense got a lot better, and this Colts defense doesn't really have many players worth mentioning besides who's the rookie that's very good?
On who?
Colts defense?
Darius Leonard.
Yeah, he's good. But as a whole, this defense isn't really that great. Cowboys offense is definitely hitting its stride, and that defense is very good. Even though this game is in Indianapolis, I'm going to take the Cowboys. Get that 6th win in a row.
All right. We're doing a wild card quick?
Yeah. Let's do it. Pick 'em, rate it.
All right. Let me just throw one out there. Who wants to go first?
I'll take it.
All right. You are going to have Packers-Bears.
Bears.
All right. That was
easy, huh?
That easy.
Yeah.
I think the Packers might win this game.
All right.
Nah.
Matt.
The Packers are going to make the playoffs.
I did a few weeks ago. I said I don't see the Packers going into Chicago and winning.
Oh,
so
that's
I'm
right.
gonna stand by that.
I don't know. I just real quick. I think the Packers without McCarthy, they looked a lot better.
Yeah. Well,
And,
this is my wild card game. So
I just want to say that I think the Packers are still in the wild card hunt.
How about Browns-Broncos for you, Matt?
Browns-Broncos. Dude, the Broncos had such a bad game against the 49ers.
Yeah, it's
that
crazy.
was unacceptable. They could have
Saturday game.
It's a Saturday game. They could have kept themselves alive in the wild card hunt. They have the easiest schedule. Like
they're just so hard to predict.
So hard to predict. That you got the Niners, the Browns. They play the Raiders and the Chargers. Like that's an easy schedule, man.
Yeah,
and they
except
blew
for
it.
The last game.
They completely blew it. But week 17, like who knows what the Chargers would have done? They
the
could have
Jets play on Saturday.
They really could have made the playoffs. But with that being said, like you said, I cannot trust the Broncos. Baker Mayfield's been playing out of his mind. He had another great game against the Panthers. I'm going to take the Browns.
All right. I'm going to do Titans Giants. You guys, I'm going to go with the Giants on that one. I'm not going to get too much in depth because it's supposed to be a wild card. Matt wrote a novel, but it's fine. All right. So we're done with the predictions. Just tune in next week after I go 4-0. I took the Giants against the Titans.
I don't know. I think the Titans, they have a lot of good pieces.
I thought you were serious. All right. So we're going to move on to the scrap heap here. And we only have 2 this week. So we're going to have Alex and Matt go in on these 2 guys. We'll let them tell you who they are. They already mentioned one of them, I believe. So you guys got 10 minutes combined between the 2 of you to tear these guys apart. Let's hear it. Who wants to go first?
Fair enough. I'll start.
All right, next.
That's good. I'll start. My scrap heap this week is Mr. Mike Tomlin, head coach of the Pittsburgh-Steelers. Keeping this to 5 minutes will be tough, but I will do it. I could go all night. This is a guy who, for years now, it's been questioned like how much control he has over his locker room. He seems to be too much of a player's coach to the point where it's like he's their buddy, like he's their best friend a lot of the time. Which will work to an extent. They've been successful, but sometimes you just wonder like how much he really has a grip on the team. And this week especially, a terrible loss against the Raiders. He just mismanaged the entire game from start to finish. It should have never been as close as it was. Big Ben gets hurt at the beginning, the end of the second quarter. Goes into the locker room, gets a shot, a painkiller. He's hurt his ribs, so he doesn't start the second half. They go to Josh Dobbs. Later on, excuse me. Later on in the game, we get word that Big Ben goes up to Tomlin. He says he's good to go. He's ready to play. He can go back in there in a game that the Steelers are up like 14-10 at this point, I think. So, okay, put Big Ben back in the game. Josh Dobbs has done absolutely nothing. The guy can't complete a pass. He looks just like he's lost out there. It's probably the first game action he's ever seen. But Tomlin's answer to why Big Ben didn't go into the game at that point when he said he was ready was that they were in a flow and a rhythm to the game. A flow and a rhythm to what? To what? To going 3 and out on every possession, to not getting anything going on offense, to watching your lead against the worst team in football slip away from you. He waits until they give up the lead, they're losing, to finally put Big Ben back in the game. And then at that point, it was just too late. He says post-game, like, oh,
Hold on. If you sneeze one more time back there. Nah, I'm kidding.
He says post-game, now he tried to walk back his words that Big Ben wasn't ready, this and that. He was clearly healthy enough that they put him back in at some point, so he could have gone in before it got to that point. So I'm not buying that at all. I think that he just, for whatever reason, he didn't want to go with Big Ben at that point until they were losing. He probably thought that they'd be able to just sneak by with Josh Dobbs, which obviously came back to bite them. But more importantly, once the lead is rendered and they finally get it back, Oakland has the ball, about 1:40 left. They get down to Pittsburgh's 7-yard line. They run the ball. They run the clock down. They're thinking, we're going to tie the game up with a field goal or we're going to score and win. At this point, Pittsburgh has 2 timeouts left. He opts not to take a timeout. They milk the clock all the way down to a minute left. They run the ball on 1st and goal. Call a timeout. They cannot get another first down. There's only so much clock you have left for them on offense. Call another timeout. He doesn't call a timeout. They end up scoring a touchdown with 34 seconds left to take the lead. So now you're sitting there. Great, you have 2 timeouts for a 30-second drive. They get into field goal range to tie the game, and they end up not kicking the field goal. They lose. That wasn't Tomlin's fault. But it should have never came to that point. You could have had 1:30 left. I don't know about you guys.
They attempted the field goal.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But they had to go for like a 40-something yard field goal because they had 5 seconds left and no timeouts at that time. I don't know about you. I would rather take the ball with 1:30 and no timeouts than 30 and 1 timeout.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like that seems like a no-brainer to me.
Just sounds like Todd Bowles to me.
Right, it's just terrible clock
crazy
management.
Coming from a Super Bowl winning head coach.
And if it wasn't for like a crazy hook and ladder play to Juju that went up the sideline for 50 yards, they would have never even been in that position to kick the field goal. Mm-hmm. So he almost got bailed out by that play, which honestly, the hook and ladder worked twice this week. That seems like a very good play that people should utilize more often.
That's Hewlett Middle School offense right there.
It works, dude. It looks like it's a good play.
It doesn't work that much.
But either way, I mean, I guess you need a player like Juju with like the speed. But, dude, like that's so unacceptable not using those timeouts. You have to stop the clock at that point, and then it just 2 big mistakes that ended up costing them the game. Mike Tomlin, 3-game losing streak, 2 tough games coming up. Like I don't know if he's getting fired or not, but something's got to change. He's got to manage these games better. So Mike Tomlin, scrap heap for the week.
Wow, that was good. I like that.
Yeah.
Did you write that?
Off the dome.
Wow. I might have to give you a raise.
Yeah, that's gonna
and
be
he finished in under 5 too. Can you beat that, Alex?
That's going to be a tough one to follow. But my scrap heap for the week is Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins. I was watching the game, and it seemed like every time the game wasn't on, they were showing some shit with Kirk Cousins. An interview of him playing in the Rose Bowl against Russell Wilson, whatever, blah, blah, blah. He's the 3rd highest paid quarterback in the league, making $28 million this year. And quite frankly, he's just not that good. There were so many, and, we can put some blame on DeFilippo for sure, put some blame on the offensive line for sure. But there were a lot of times during this game where he was sitting back in the pocket. There were guys open, and he just doesn't get the ball to them in time. He holds on to it. He's hesitant. He's very conservative. And it shows in his stat line. He threw for 208 yards, fine. Threw for a touchdown, fine. No picks, fine. It's a classic Kirk Cousins game. Protecting the ball. The team doesn't have a running game, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I mean, for somebody who's making $84 million over the next 3 years, you need better performance out of this guy. For the first 3 quarters, you don't score any points, and I haven't even brought up yet the record against teams with winning records.
Terrible.
What is it? 4-24.
Terrible.
Disgusting. Primetime games. He's 0-7 in Monday night games in his career. What is this guy gonna do? God willing, they get a chance to play in the playoffs. But when it comes down to playoff time, is this guy gonna perform? I'm definitely not convinced. I don't know. This team was 13-3 last year with Case Keenum as their quarterback, and then they go out and spend $84 million on a quarterback who's supposed to take them to the next level, and 13 games into the season, they're 6-1, and their offensive coordinator's getting fired. What's the problem here? I think they invested a little bit too much money in this quarterback, and as a Jet fan, I'm really happy that we went out and we didn't spend the money. I mean, we tried to spend the money, but didn't end up working out for us. We got our quarterback for the future, and hopefully he pans out better than Cousins. But this week he's my scrap heap. I'm expecting a lot more out of this guy, especially to have to watch this guy on every commercial break spew some bullshit. He's good looking and all that, but he's just not that good at football. And I don't know, maybe things will change with a new offensive coordinator in town. I don't think they will. I just think he's way too conservative, and he's, quite frankly, he's just not that good. Scrap heap for Kirk Cousins.
That was good.
Garbage time, Kirk.
Good job, guys.
He did. He ended up scoring the only point of the game with like a minute left.
Yeah. We have 2 minutes on this timer here, so this isn't a full-on scrap that I'm going to throw in here because I don't want to give any disrespect to this man. But how about the NBA treating Dwayne Wade like it was his last day on earth yesterday? Yesterday, meaning at the time of this recording yesterday, when the Heat and the Lakers played. That was absolutely ridiculous. That post-game interview with him and LeBron, I like watching that. I was like, look, I get it. They love each other, all that. But, like, it was just something was off about that, man. It was weird.
So forced.
Yeah, it was so forced. Like, they were just, like, kept asking them questions about each other. And, like, they just kept having to talk about each other. And I was like, yo, like, come on. We get it. Like, they're boys. I get why it was, like, a highlighted matchup. Same draft, best friends, all that. Won chips together. Been going at it for years, but geez. And then a little side note on that shot Dwayne Wade took where LeBron's clamping him like the best defense anyone could play on you at the 3-point line, and his teammates running around open asking for the ball to tie the game with an open 3, maybe, but he decides to take a fadeaway brick jump shot. A guy who's never even been good at threes, really, his entire career. So that's I won't call it a scrap. I'll call it like a brush aside. I don't know. I didn't like it.
Yeah, they made it seem like it was Wade's last game.
Yeah. They were like, we know you're out of here tomorrow. We'll never see you again in your life. I don't know. And the players only stuff that, dude, they don't talk about the game.
They never
They're just like, dude, they were talking about Denzel Washington for 10 minutes. And I was like, yo, stuff is happening in the game. Like, announce what is going on. Whatever, man. They got to figure that out over there. Good game, though. Very entertaining. All right, that was good. Let's Alex quit without saying a word. So
the Vikings are going to stumble their way into the playoffs just because of lack of competition.
Oh.
But they're one and done. Cousins will never win a playoff game.
No. He's done. All right, we can Oh, you're back. I thought you have anything to say? All right. So, last segment of the day will be the one we all love, the Stamper Shred.
Fan favorite.
Everyone's always asking about
Our
it.
favorite.
Yeah, our favorite too. Because we spent money on a stamp, so
It's the same thing.
it's got to be our favorite.
Do we have the stamp?
Can someone? We're not going to use the stamp because we don't have the paper. But someone give me that stamp right now.
It's behind Spencer.
It needs to be on this table.
It's
Should
over
be on the
there.
table at all times if we're being honest.
To your left.
To the left.
All the way to the left.
To the left.
All the way. All the way.
No, the left.
Yeah. We don't need anything else. Stamp, everyone. The Memo stamp. This is legit. None of you will ever touch this. All right. So we got our stamper shred. The ink's over here that we're not going to use, but it's fine. Put it in the middle of the table for the wide shot. All right. The first statement we got today. Oh, you want it? You want to put it on the ink?
Yes.
Matt, you want to say it? Since
Sure.
you were supposed to print them out and didn't?
Sure. Yeah. So I was irresponsible. I forgot to print out our stamper shreds for this week. I'll take ownership of that. But you know what? We've got great technology here, so we can actually put it right here for you.
Yeah, we can do that. I can do that.
Here
Not
we
we.
have first stamper shred statement of the day. Kind of an interesting topic. To us, at least, it gave us a lot of debate in the production studio prior to filming. Lamar Jackson. The Baltimore Ravens should continue with Lamar Jackson even when Joe Flacco is healthy. Stamper shred that statement. I will let you guys give your wrong answer, and then I'll take it from here.
Kid acts like he knows what we're gonna say. You don't know what Alex is thinking.
If you change your mind, I will call you out.
Oh, all right. Well,
I don't know. I've been having an internal conflict with this up until right now. It's tough because I think the end all be all of all this is I really don't think Joe Flacco is good. He was playing fine for the first few games of the season, and then he started to suck really bad, and the Ravens lost a few games.
they actually lost 3 in a row. His last 3 games he played.
Okay, they lost 3 in a row. And then he got hurt, which was now it seems like because they've won 3 out of the last 4 games, their one loss being a very close loss to one of the best teams in the league, that maybe it was a blessing in disguise, you know. Lamar comes in, they win a few games, he plays very well in terms of running the ball. Not a great passer at all yet, maybe not even good. He's made a ton of mistakes. He's very raw in that respect. But I personally think they really have to stick with Lamar Jackson. You know, Harbaugh is coaching for his job right now. I don't see they're winning games now. Whether it's the team rallying around Lamar, maybe they like the change that has gone down, but the fact of the matter is this team's winning games. And if one thing goes left that should have gone right last game, and they just beat the best team in the AFC, arguably. So, I don't know. I just don't see the reason in going back to Joe Flacco, who isn't very good. They weren't winning games with him. They're 3 points away from being 4-0 with Lamar Jackson, and if that's the case, which it very well could have been, then there's no chance you go back to Joe Flacco. So I don't know. 3 points is going to make the decision between Lamar Jackson and Joe Flacco. Not for me. I think you stick with Lamar Jackson.
I don't think that game is within 3 points if Joe Flacco's in there.
Really?
Yeah. I think they
Wow, they were losing to worse teams than the Chiefs when he was playing.
But their defense has been playing so much better. I'm looking at Lamar Jackson, who they've played against, the 3 worst offenses in the league, 3 worst defenses in the league, and he hasn't even thrown for 200 yards.
They don't really even try to throw the ball
because they can't.
Well,
they would love to try to throw the ball.
He's ran for over 70 yards.
Their offense was
pass
pass heavy. Joe Flacco was averaging the most attempts in the league while he was playing.
You should not do that.
But they had a pass heavy offense because they don't have a run game. And
now they do.
But now you don't have a pass game. It's what's more important, a pass game or a run game?
It depends. They're still
if you have no
scoring
threat,
more points, gaining more yards.
If you have no run game,
it's
worse. I think if you have no run game, it's worse for you than if you have a limited pass game.
I don't think it was a limited pass game. Flacco was averaging 275 yards a game, 12 touchdowns, 6 picks. That's nothing that would indicate
275 yards on the most attempts in the league is not that impressive to me.
It's not impressive by any means, but it's nothing that demands a quarterback change.
I don't think Flacco is performing that much better than Lamar Jackson.
But the threat to pass is there, and I'm watching this Ravens game, and first of all, I'm shredding this statement that they should stick with Lamar Jackson. When Flacco's healthy, I think you have to go back to him, simply because of the fact, like, okay, Lamar Jackson is a rookie. Let's not forget that. He's far from a finished product, which is completely understandable. But right now, Flacco just gives you a better chance to win. When you have a defense like that can compete with anyone in the league, as we just saw with the Chiefs, you need to at least have a threat that it's 3rd and 9, it's 3rd and 8. You're not running an RPO with no threat to pass the ball. You can't every throw Jackson is throwing, there's no zip on the ball. It's a little lob, it's a floater, like a slant. It's just like, and whenever he completes, you're like, oh, look, he completed a pass. He hasn't thrown for yet. He cannot throw the ball. They're limiting his attempts. They're run heavy. The run out attack is still not even that good. Aside from him, they have Gus Edwards and Kenneth Dixon. That's still not a trio that you want to rely on. The reason that Lamar Jackson is in the game is because Flacco's hurt, which is fine. Like, he's the backup. He's keeping them afloat. When Flacco's healthy, there's no reason for me to believe that he's not the quarterback for this season. Next year, you want to go in with Lamar as the starter. That's fine. Flacco's over the hill. He's not what he used to be. But I can't see what Lamar Jackson gives them that's better than what Flacco could be giving them right now.
I really can't disagree with you more about, like, the run game is so important to this team because of how good the defense is. That's going to be their game plan going into the playoffs, if they make the playoffs, and going into the last few weeks of the season, is run, control the ball, and play great defense. That's how you beat great offenses. That's how the Cowboys beat the Saints, and that's how the Ravens are going to look to beat teams like the Chiefs, like they almost did just this past week at Arrowhead. They need that running game, and if Joe Flacco's in the game, yes, he's a threat to pass, but the running game doesn't exist because the teams are going to stack the box, and Joe Flacco is going to throw 45 attempts a game, and he's going to throw for 250 yards, and he's going to suck like he always does.
They're not stacking the box now with zero threat to pass?
They have 3 separate places they can go with the ball, with the running game. RPO, Lamar Jackson could keep the ball. He can hand it off to Gus Edwards, or he can dump it off to some receiver in the flats.
So you do that every single play.
Is that not?
What if you get stuck in a long down situation like we saw in this game? He drops back to pass. He's fumbled 8 times in 4 games.
Then you punt.
He's clearly not ready to be in these games.
He clearly needs to work on ball security. But if it's a 3rd and long situation, you play it conservative. You possess the ball. You kick it deep, and then you rely on your defense, which is the strongest team on your. I feel like strongest unit on your team.
I feel like a lot of your argument is coming from the fact, and I know you think the Ravens are like able to compete for the Super Bowl this year with their defense, and we'll talk more about that later, but I don't see how much more of a chance Joe Flacco really gives them to win any game. Like, yeah, he's a better passer, but he's still not good. And I mean, yards are yards, points are points. Like, they're scoring more points, they're gaining more yards. I understand worse defenses. I was going to try and compare it to the Flacco's last 4 games against who they played, but it's just way too many numbers to be going over. But they definitely played a little bit better teams when his last 4 games when they were in there. But he was 1-3 his last 4 games. Lamar Jackson's 3-1. He's their quarterback of the future. I mean, Harbaugh.
Future.
What?
The future.
And this is valuable experience to get him right now. And the team clearly rallies behind him. He electrifies the team. He gives them a spark, which they didn't have. You think any of them want Flacco to come back in? I doubt it. You saw Crabtree even said, like, after the first or second game Lamar played, he was like, it's the Lamar show. Like, you just sit back, watch, let him do his thing, and, like, we'll do our thing. And I just think Flacco is done with the Ravens. I don't think it's smart for the team to go back to him at this point. Like,
he wouldn't have been done if he didn't get hurt. There was no change getting demanded before he got hurt. He's thrown for over 375 yards like 3 times.
They had lost 3 in a row at that point, and then who knows? They could have lost even more. They could have snowballed their season.
Cupcakes on their schedule to get them right. And dude, like the reason that I'm saying,
was the Chiefs game a cupcake? They didn't win, but they
lost. But the game was theirs for the taking. You have Lamar Jackson, and you guys love to say this with basketball. Late in the game, you need a drive. Like, I'll put it into football terms.
But Joe Flacco's not going to do that.
But he can at least provide a threat to throw the ball. Like, dude,
barely.
Not barely, dude. He's thrown for. He can go for over 350 yards in a game.
Those last 4 games, he threw like 3 touchdowns in those games. He's not good.
He's right now, and you mentioned the future and getting important experience, and that's all well and good, but not when you're a team that's a game out of the division and a game out of the wild card when you can actually win something this season. This isn't when you develop a rookie quarterback. You do it with the Bills and the Cardinals and the Jets on bad teams that need to develop their quarterback. This team is in a position to actually make a move in the playoffs.
You really think the Flacco provides that much more value to the team than Lamar Jackson?
Even if it's even a little bit of value, he's better. He's a better option.
So you think his
and it's not coming at the expense of anything. You can't throw 140 yards against the worst passing defense in the league. That's unacceptable.
He ran for 70-something.
Okay, but
so
even
Flacco,
still,
Flacco
that's less than 200 yards. That's 200.
So he threw
yards
for 147 yards. He runs for 70. What is that like?
220 something.
So what? So Flacco running for 0 yards and throwing for 220.
He probably would have thrown for more than 220 against
the
worst defense in the league. Everyone is throwing for yards on them. Everyone.
I want you to show me a quarterback the same caliber of Joe Flacco who's torn them up.
Derek Carr just went off
this,
and they scored
Flacco.
30.
Derek Carr has been playing very well since like week 6.
He's just as inconsistent as Joe Flacco.
Not the past few weeks.
Dude, I don't understand how a team that is keeping them they're staying in every single game because of their defense, and you have a quarterback who cannot throw the football yet. We'll see how he develops. But you have an experienced quarterback who's been there and done that with the top defense in the league. When he's healthy, he should be in there. If he's not in there, it will blow my mind if he's not playing in these games. It really will.
This offense just looks like a generation ahead they look like a modern NFL offense when Lamar Jackson is in the game.
How can you say that? They look like a college-style offense with no passing attack.
Which is what every good offense in the league looks like.
No, but they can throw the ball downfield.
Throwing the ball downfield is like overrated in today's game. You need to throw short passes. You need to be efficient. You need to run the ball. When Gus Edwards was not even a known player until Lamar Jackson stepped in, and now Kenneth.
That's because Alex Collins got hurt. He was their starting running back.
Now Gus Edwards is suddenly like a respectable running back, and
that's because of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, it's the RPO.
Their starting running back got hurt, and first of all, Gus Edwards hasn't even been doing anything special. Remember,
nothing special,
yards.
But he's when he's running for 64 yards, and Lamar Jackson's running for 74, and Kenneth Dixon's giving you 30.
Cool, and when you're on the 25-yard line with a tie game, and you need to go down the field and win against the worst defense in the league, he fumbles the ball on his own 10-yard line.
Okay, yes, he needs to work on ball security, but I think they're trying to mimic what the Seahawks are doing, which is possess the ball, run the clock down, and play good defense, which is just working very well for them. But Russell Wilson's obviously multiple steps ahead of Lamar Jackson, but I think they want to mimic that sort of style.
But you can't do it if you can't. But Russell Wilson is miles ahead of Lamar Jackson because he can pass the ball downfield.
That's true.
So you can't mimic the style if you have no threat to pass downfield.
Who knows if the Ravens are even in the playoff conversation if Flacco stays in? They were on a skid. They almost lost to the Bengals that next game. He wasn't playing well.
We don't know. They played the three.
We don't know, but I think Lamar provides a spark that Flacco doesn't, and I don't think the players on the team would. I don't think they would want him back in. I don't. I think they rally behind Lamar, and I think
you just go with the better quarterback. And right now, Flacco is the better quarterback.
Go with who gives you the best chance to win, I think.
Which would ideally be the better quarterback.
In this situation, I don't know.
Flacco's not. I think you're giving Flacco way too much credit.
I think you guys are discrediting Flacco too much. I'm not saying he's some great quarterback. He's not a problem. He's not
the fact that he was leading the league in pass attempts and has 12 touchdowns.
They spent a first-round pick on a quarterback. They clearly have been thinking about moving on from. It's not just because he got injured.
No, but
he's not good.
Yeah, no. This is probably his last year in Baltimore. But without the injury, there was no need for them to make the switch. They wouldn't have made the switch. I don't believe that they would have made the switch.
I was reading that they were thinking about it.
This segues very well into our next segment.
It does. Wait, Stamp Lamar Jackson should stay.
The memo.
The memo.
Shred it. My hypothetical Lamar Jackson face.
But this segues very
Bring
well.
Cool Joe back into the fold.
This segues very well into our next segment, which is, what's the statement? Can a dominant defense carry you to a championship in today's NFL? Which
Not if you have a quarterback who can't throw.
relates very well back to the Ravens argument because they obviously have a great defense.
What?
I just want to see what you have to say about this.
Their offense is subpar. So the way I look at it is this is the time for Jackson to play because, I mean, I'm going to shred this statement. I don't think this team has a shot to win a championship either way, so this experience for him is very valuable. What do you think, Matt?
Well, as much as I just talked about the Ravens and their great defense, with Lamar Jackson at quarterback, they are not a threat to go anywhere in the playoffs.
But what do you think about defense carrying the team?
I absolutely think a defense can carry a team. I think we've seen, so you have the three best teams in football right now. Who are they? The Rams, the Saints, and the Chiefs, right?
That's what people would say.
That's the consensus, what most people would say. If a wise man might say the Chargers, but we'll stick with those three because they have the best record. And we just saw them play. Two of them lost. One of them squeaked by against the Bears. Rams lost to the Bears. The Saints lost to the Cowboys. And the quarterbackless Ravens lost to the Chiefs, but they almost won that game. And they really, say, aside from, Lamar or Joe Flacco, maybe neither one of them gets it done, but they showed that a tight defense can make Mahomes uncomfortable and keep them to 27 points. That's good. In Arrowhead, that's good. So I do believe a stout defense, and those three defenses are the top three defenses in the league, basically across all categories. And those three defenses, they put your team in a position to be within striking distance at all times. They're never going to get blown out. So if things bode well, I wouldn't be surprised to see any three of those teams reach a conference championship. Maybe I do like the Bears as a potential Super Bowl team. The Ravens and Cowboys, not so much. But I do believe in modern NFL, a great defense, which all three of those teams have, will give these elite offenses problems. They'll make them uncomfortable, and they can make a big difference in a playoff game.
Do you think any of these defenses are as good as the Broncos in 2015?
I think the Bears and the Ravens might be up there. I think, on a good day, I think the Bears, first of all, they have three different players that could be defensive player of the year.
I think the Bears, out of all those teams, are easily the biggest to possibly get to the Super Bowl.
They are, because they have the best offense out of the three of them, too. But their defense might also be the best.
Is the Bears' offense better than the Cowboys' offense? I don't know about that.
Maybe not.
Trubisky still is makes a lot of poor decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously turns the ball over a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think the team out of those three that has the best shot is the Cowboys, and it's not because of their defense. I mean, their defense is outstanding. I think it's up there with all of theirs. I think the Bears have the best defense out of all of them, but I think the Cowboys have the best offense to supplement that defense. I don't think the Cowboys or the Ravens have a chance. Ravens, whether it's Flacco or Lamar Jackson, don't have the quarterback to get it done. I don't think the Bears have the quarterback to get it done. I don't think Trubisky's there yet. I think he makes too many mistakes, and that's going to kill him come playoff time. I think the Cowboys have a chance to make a run to the conference championship, but I'm shredding this statement. I don't think any of these teams have the quarterback play that's good enough, that's going to score enough points to outscore teams like the Saints, teams like the Rams, teams like the Chiefs. I'm shredding that any one of these defenses can carry these teams to a Super Bowl.
Okay. Was it about these specific defenses, or was it more can any elite defense still carry you to the Super Bowl?
I mean, it's pretty much just relevant to those three teams.
Yeah.
Because I'm talking about this year primarily when I came up with that statement. Because like I said, we just saw it. All three of these teams just played against the three best teams in the league, and the defense showed up and showed off that it's possible.
That Broncos defense, it was amazing. But on the other side of the ball, they had Peyton Manning, who was obviously a shell of his former self, but that guy still was had an impact on all those games, just decision-making wise, play calling wise, audibling. These defenses don't have a player of that caliber, even when Peyton Manning was as old as he was. I think the Cowboys have the best chance because that offense seems to be coming alive, and the addition of Amari Cooper has been huge. Ezekiel Elliott's obviously very good. Dak Prescott doesn't make a ton of mistakes. I think they have the best chance, but even them I don't see.
I think the biggest thing, and it's kind of obvious, but just putting pressure on these quarterbacks is so important.
Huge.
And making Mahomes and Goff specifically, these young quarterbacks, making them uncomfortable. Goff had the worst game of his career against Chicago on Sunday night. 4 picks. He just I watched this game from start to finish. He had no time in the pocket whatsoever. He was throwing picks because his offensive linemen were backing into him because the Khalil Mack and all these guys, Leonard Floyd, are rushing at him, and he had no time to do anything. And they held Gurley to 28 yards because they just couldn't get anything going on offense. And then the same thing goes with the Ravens. They knocked down Patrick Mahomes 15 times in that game. And he was clearly uncomfortable. He was scrambling early. Somehow he throws the ball 60 yards downfield and makes plays. But I don't think that you can make that last. The luck will run out on those plays if they're consistently pressuring you. And again with the Cowboys, their pass rush is just as good as well with DeMarcus Lawrence and Van Der Esch. I just think if on any given day at the right time, you're able to make these quarterbacks uncomfortable, it'll change the entire game. Because they love to sit back, dink and dunk, pick apart, throw the deep ball at the right time. They're in control of the game the entire time. If you can get them out of their comfort zone, it's anybody's game. So I do think that one of these teams will be upsetting somebody that has a great offense. How far they'll go, we'll see. But I think you can still win with a defense, an elite defense like this. Defense travels.
Yeah,
too.
It does. I do too. I still think you can win with a great defense. Now, since we're talking about this year, I don't know if any of these teams will do it. I don't believe any of these teams will end up upsetting those teams we talked about, the Chiefs, Rams, and Saints. Maybe they'll upset one of them, but I don't see them going to the Super Bowl. And the question was bring you to the Super Bowl. So I don't think any of these teams will do that. But I do believe, like Matt said, that a great defense can carry you to the Super Bowl. It's just this year there's too many great offenses to go through, and I don't think the offenses on any of those teams are good enough to get them over the top.
Yeah,
so
we're talking about great defenses here, and we're clearly focusing on teams that are relying on their defense. But there's a great defense over there in New Orleans, and they have a offense that's light years ahead of these teams. So I don't see any of these teams upsetting the Saints.
I wouldn't say they're a great defense.
Stopping the run, they're pretty elite. Pass defense, you know that secondary is a little suspect.
Yeah, none of those guys none of those quarterbacks on these teams are really.
The offenses don't even touch New Orleans.
Yeah.
So,
but I definitely think a defense can still carry.
The Saints I think are going to be the toughest out because of the experience with Drew Brees. But like I mentioned, with just making young quarterbacks uncomfortable gives you a good chance.
2 seasons before this, we never the Broncos won 3 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. So these 2 seasons in between, I feel like we haven't really even seen that great of a defense.
The Eagles were good.
They were good last year, but you never really thought of them as they weren't like the Seahawks, the Legion of Boom. They weren't like the Broncos. The Vikings were really good last year, but they lost 38-7 in the NFC Championship, and they gave up 20-something points to the Saints the week before. There wasn't really any dominating.
Could argue that the Eagles kind of carried them to their defense to the Super Bowl last year with the backup quarterback. They wouldn't have, if they didn't have a good defense.
Still put up 38 points on Minnesota.
Gave up 7.
The Super Bowl
they held the Falcons. It was 15-10 or something.
The Super Bowl was a shootout.
It was.
Yeah. Yeah, but So
I just think the Cowboys, Ravens, and Bears defenses, they're so good.
They are.
They
They
really
are
are
good.
really, really fucking good. And these teams, they're all overachieving because of their defenses. So we'll see how far it can take them.
Yeah, I feel like come playoff time, I don't know if I could see any of them really.
Doing it back
Getting
to
them
back to back.
Exact.
That's
That's
gonna
really
be
what,
the hardest.
especially in the NFC, especially just because someone's gonna have to go through the Rams and the Saints most likely.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cowboys and the Bears are in the NFC, so one of them could get the Rams, one the Saints. Meet up right in the NFC chip.
That'd be interesting.
I would. That'd be cool. All right, so is that the end of Stamp or Shred right there?
Looks like
All right, that was a fun episode. I had a good time. I had a good time with everyone walking in and out of the door, making squeak noises. Matt looks like Fred Flintstone. That was cool. Yeah, so we'll end it right there. That was the Memo. This was episode 8. Wow, I can't believe episode 8. We've been doing this for 8 weeks. If you've been listening for 8 weeks, what a
We
guy you are,
appreciate you.
or a girl. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You never know. My mom might be listening.
Okay.
All right, so thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy listening to us, please subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, whatever you want, whatever your preferred listening platform is. And if you have any feedback for us, send us a message on Instagram or something. Leave a comment. We really like to discuss what we talk about with everyone. So, we learn a lot of stuff from fans, from all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.